Good afternoon, everybody. It's Sunday, March 8th, and I couldn't be in a better mood today. Last night was the time change. We are officially on daylight saving time. I'm looking ahead at the 15-day forecast, and my lowest low is 49 degrees. Our normal last frost date is coming up in about 2 weeks, so I think we made it for the most part. I think we're going to have an early spring, and I think that we can start to get the planting soon, so I couldn't be any happier. So what I'm doing today is I am preparing this earth bed for planting, because this earth bed right here is going to be where I'm going to be putting in a lot of my edible landscaping. As most of you know, I've been growing figs for the past year. I have a number of varieties, and I will be adding even more to my collection. And it is my goal to put the best performers in ground. So that's why I'm prepping this earth bed, and I want to share with you how I'm going to do it and teach you all how to go ahead and prep an earth bed for edible landscaping in your garden. So right here you will see a bed that I just put in. I borrowed my neighbor's rototiller, and all I did was till under sod. So this used to be mostly sod. You can see where the sod used to be. So I simply took a string line and I pulled that string 48 inches off the fence all the way in the back corner and all the way in the front corner. And I made sure to pull that string line very tightly. That way I would be able to adhere to that 4-foot spacing, and I would have a nice even bed. So when I tilled that soil under, the grass went under with it, obviously, and the soil was actually a lot nicer than I thought it would be. It was sand, because I'm on native sand, but it was fairly loamy because the lawn has been there for a year and a half at this point. So it came up as pretty dark in the first 6 inches, which is about how far I tilled it under. So that was the first step, simply pulling the string line and tilling everything under. But it's not just enough to till the grass under. I also wanted to amend everything with compost. So right here I had piles of garden soil that I had trucked in that is amended with a lot of turkey compost, and it's really good stuff. So I strategically placed piles everywhere, so when I rake that out, I'll get about a 2-inch top layer of compost. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to simply spread this turkey compost in a 2-inch layer on top of the earth bed. Now for most of you out there, that's really all you have to do to really start prepping this earth bed. But I'm going to go to the next level, and I'm going to place this product called Terrace Board. And this is going to be like a weed barrier to prevent weeds from growing into my bed. Now down here in the south we have sod that is centipede grass, and it sends runners everywhere. And there are a lot of different runner-like grasses like that, like Bermuda grass and St. Augustine and zoysia. They're technically classified as weeds that make really nice lawns. So if I don't put this terrace board down, even if I mulch everything very heavily, I'm going to have my grass trying to establish in the beds. So I went, and on Home Depot's website they sell these 40-foot lengths of terrace board that is 5 inches thick for $20 a roll, and then they sell these stakes that are like another $20 for a package. So I have 80 feet of this, and this is going to be enough for me to go ahead and put a terrace border around this entire area. Alright, I just laid out all of the terrace board, and it took literally 20 minutes. It was incredibly easy, and all I did was I pulled it right up against the string line, and I used the string as a guide, and I got it as close as I possibly could, and as you can see, it's pretty straight, but it's not perfect. So what's going to happen is the terrace board, as the sun hits it, it's going to straighten out, and as it has the force of having to hold back the dirt, it's going to straighten itself out with time. So it's going to look a lot better once things progress. The manufacturer's instructions simply said place the stakes every 4 feet, and then you can see that I did exactly that. Every 4 feet I placed another stake. So basically at the 4, 8, 12, and 16 mark. And then I put one final stake at the end to hold everything down, and I cut the end off with a hacksaw. It was very easy to cut, and overall I think it'll turn out pretty well. And now that the terrace board is down, all I'm going to do is spread the compost, and it's very light. It's very easy to do this. And one thing that you'll notice is I'm only putting down 2 inches of compost, and it is in fact a 5-inch terrace board. You may be thinking to yourself, well, why would I do that? And the answer is simple, because I'm going to use mulch on top. So basically, with the 2-inch layer of compost, I'm still going to have roughly about 3 inches of border left where I will be able to import wood chips. And that is going to be my source of nutrients and how I'm going to improve the soil over the years. Every year, maybe twice a year, I'm going to put down a layer of wood chips. You know, you can use a service like Chip Drop to get free wood chips brought in from arborists that are just ground up pine needles and tree leaves and bark and all that good stuff, all natural, and that'll let it break down. So I want to have at least a 3-inch cushion here, so when I plant all of my trees here, I can go ahead and add wood chips. Alright, all of the soil and compost has been evenly spread. Everything looks great. Now there is something that you'll notice here. I ran the tiller on my lawn and any incidental weeds and grasses that were growing up on their own. So I tilled all of those fresh living weeds and blades of grass under. Now, all of that stuff still has to be broken down and composted by the natural worms and fungi and bacteria in the soil. That is going to take time, and as that naturally breaks down, it is going to require nitrogen. It is going to rob nitrogen from my soil. You never want to plant your fruit trees, vegetables, or anything else in freshly tilled soil. You always want to let it sit for a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this. This right here is blood meal. Blood meal is a 100% organic source of nitrogen, and according to the information on the back, I'm not sure if you can see that, but it is a total nitrogen analysis of 12%. This is basically 12% pure nitrogen. So what I'm going to do is, in order to add nitrogen to facilitate the breakdown of the organic matter that I tilled under, I'm just going to take some blood meal and I'm going to gently sprinkle it down all over as an added source of nitrogen. You could also do things like add some coffee grounds, you could add 555 granules, but blood meal is really cheap and breaks down into nitrogen readily. So I'm going to do that evenly throughout my beds. Then I'm also going to take this weed barrier that I have laid out here. And if you're curious where I get this weed barrier, I buy it on Amazon. It is linked in my Amazon storefront. I use it on my fig forest over here and to prevent any weeds from growing on the land that the pots are occupied. And what's going to happen is I'm going to cover the area with this weed barrier. I'm going to take these simple garden staples that I also have linked on my Amazon storefront to hold the weed barrier down. And with the compost and the blood meal, that weed barrier is going to hold in heat, it's going to hold in moisture every single time it rains, and it's going to get the soil so hot that it's basically going to hot compost instead of cold compost. And with the added nitrogen, it's going to really accelerate the process. So in about 3 to 4 weeks, I'll be able to remove this weed barrier, and all of the grass and the other organic matter that I tilled under, it's going to break down at a rapid rate because I'm going to attract so much heat and hold in so much moisture plus the added nitrogen. So my goal is by about April 1st, I will be able to use this soil. This is going to be soil that is going to be broken down, pretty much mostly fully composted, and then I will go over with you all the figs that I selected to plant in ground permanently, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm also going to try to get my hands on a persimmon tree and maybe a few other select fruit trees to put in this area as edible landscaping. And there you have it. All of the weed barrier is gone. It's securely covering all of the dirt, and in probably about a month or so, maybe 3 to 4 weeks if things go really well, it will all break down on its own naturally and compost itself, and it should be ready for planting roughly around April 1st. Everyone, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found it helpful, please hit that like button, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe for future updates and more videos like these. If you're curious about anything I used in this video or in my garden in general, everything that I use is in my Amazon storefront, linked in the video description. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see all of you again on the next video.